to the cloud.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone to the monthly board meeting of the SPJ Freelance Community. It's Wednesday, September 14th. And Solomon is sorting out his audio. He can hear us, but we cannot hear him. Okay, well, Solomon, since you can hear us, just thank you for putting that into the chat. And if you hear anything that you want to respond to, but if you don't have your mic set up, please just send something in the chat or shoot me a text or something like that so that I know. Oh, look, Stacy's coming in. We're going to admit Stacy to the room, which is both good news and bad news. Welcome, Stacy. Oh, she's connecting to audio.
Yeah.
Hi, Stacy, welcome. But sorry that you're able to be here because we are recording, FYI, but so I am not revealing
Personal
health information. But anyway.
I should not be here. Thank you for having these two, like Jenny came yesterday, Hazel came yesterday. Thank you for doing that. I really needed to have that meeting yesterday because I did not think I'd be here today, but here I am.
Well, sorry for whatever that means in your world, but thank you for being here in the midst of it. And yeah, thanks to those of you who are doing 2 meetings 2 days in a row. So without further ado, we will go ahead and get started. As usual, I don't have a super regimented agenda for the conversation, but generally speaking, the idea today is to talk conference planning and just like solicit any thoughts or questions or tag any action items that need to be taken care of in the next, what? I can't even believe it's like 6 weeks until the conference happens. It's terrifying. So we will do that. And also I wanted to follow up. We had a successful, and B is here. Let me admit B. So we did have a nice volunteer fair last month, just a couple weeks ago. And so I did want to follow up with a couple volunteer opportunities. So basically what I'll do today, and welcome B, glad you can be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So generally, I'm going to open with a couple specific volunteer opportunities that I have on my radar. Other board members, feel free to chime in if you have other volunteer needs that are pressing at the moment. And also any non-board members who are interested in getting more involved, feel free to chime in. The bulk of the conversation today is going to be dedicated to the conference, and then we'll also go through the different sort of departments and just do a quick check-in. I always say this, but maybe we don't even need the entire hour and a half to have our meeting, and we can just close with chit-chatting and sharing with each other how our freelancing lives are going. I will say that I do have a hard stop at 5:30. Okay, so with that said, volunteer opportunities. 2 things. Well, no, wait, let me actually, before I dive into like sort of the board agenda, I want to welcome guests to the meeting. And if you would like, feel free to introduce yourself or share if there's anything specific that brought you to the meeting today, any specific curiosities or needs. We would just love to hear from you. And that's really the most important thing before the to-do lists. So Irene and B, anything that y'all want to offer? And I don't say this in a way to pressure anybody. There's no pressure, but I want to give you the opportunity without making you wait through a long discussion before like a public discussion.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thank you. I was wondering, I find myself here as I did subscribe to be a member of SPG. And after that, I ended up learning about the freelance community. And I think I did subscribe for it too. As
Yeah.
I saw this meeting, coming up meeting, I did. I registered myself to it, so I don't know if I'm at the right place. I don't know if I'm at the wrong place. I'm trying to find my way out into the website and try to find out. But personally, I'm a journalist, and I'm originally from Africa, but I used to work as a correspondent for some media, foreign media, basically, BBC. As a correspondent in United Nations, BBC, and right now I'm currently a correspondent of African News with my own website that I'm launching. So yeah, quickly, that's who I am, and I'm trying to find, yeah, I don't know if it is the right place to be.
I think you're in the right place. Totally.
Okay.
And I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. It's especially exciting to have international representation. So where are you based now?
Washington, D.C.
In DC. Oh, okay, cool. So will you be able to, I don't know, so it sounds like you're new to SPJ, but we have a conference coming up in DC.
I saw it, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Well, hopefully you'll be able to make it there. It's in a different city every year. And so it's convenient for you that this year it's in DC.
Yeah, finger crossed if there's no upcoming trip on the way, definitely yes, I'll be part of it.
Okay, cool. And so you've done mostly like foreign correspondent work. Maybe we can take, since you're new, maybe we can take a minute to just sort of explain a little bit about what all of us do. So again, I don't want to make you feel like you're in the hot seat or anything, but I'm curious to learn more about what you do, because the more that we know about the work that each other does, the more we can, as a board, figure out how to support the freelance members of the community. And also we can just sort of on an individual basis and ad hoc basis, keep each other in mind for various opportunities. So would you mind sharing a little bit more about the type of journalism that you do?
No, I cover mostly everything regarding UX to the those foreign media that I'm working with. It could be politics, it could be, international interest, let's say mostly international interest.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. That sounds
Could be,
exciting.
so
Great. Okay, good. Well, thank you for being here. That sounds really exciting. I have always sort of dreamed of becoming a foreign correspondent someday. So I'm personally very excited to have you here and to have that kind of energy and experience here. I'm the chair of the board of the freelance community. We're an elected 8-member board. We currently do have one opening for an at-large member.
okay.
So we have 7 board members total active, and I have been freelancing. I think I'm in my 8th year of freelancing. I came to journalism in my mid-30s after being a bartender and a farmer and natural food store manager and various other things. And then I helped found a community radio station, and that I think is one of the major catalysts that brought me to journalism. So I worked as a State House reporter for a while. I specialize in data journalism and have been doing a lot of that for the last couple years. I live in New Hampshire. just about an hour north of Boston. And I do some public radio, some writing, and would love to be doing more editing as well. So that's my journalism story.
Okay.
And I took over as chair of this group from Hazel, so I'm just going to go through the Zoom screen right now and put you all on the spot. Hazel is our membership director. Would you like to say a couple words?
Sure. I want to talk to you about being in DC because I'm here too.
Oh, okay, nice.
And our local chapter is having a freelance lunch get together on the 29th of September. And if you're interested, I will put information in the chat for you about how to sign up and meet us for lunch.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Thank you.
I'm membership coordinator and I count the number of members every month. We get a roster from headquarters and try to reach out and welcome new members and all that. So that's what I do.
Hazel
Thank
does a
you.
lot more than that, but she's being a little modest and probably probably trying to not think about all that she does. But she does a lot. She's done a lot, and she's kind of our godmother.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the screen here and kick it to Stacy next.
Hi, I'm Stacy Overton Johnson. I'm the vice chair of the freelance community. I've been the vice chair since roughly 2017, maybe 18. I've been a journalist since 2000, so I'm entering my 23rd year. On Valentine's Day of next year will be my 23rd year anniversary of working as a journalist. I've been a freelancer for 17 years. Although 4 of those years, in the middle of that 17 years, I ended up moving overseas and I was working in the Middle East. I was in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. I was a food editor of a print, of a newspaper, an English daily over there. So I've done both print and TV. I shouldn't say all I've done. Most of what I've done in the United States has been television, TV production, writing. I produce a show and write a show in Texas. I live in New York, and my time overseas was solely print. I did all print. So I do both now, do all sorts of things now. So I'm happy to connect with you. I've got lots of opinion. I always think people should be like, I'm just like, go overseas, go work over there. They're always looking for good journalists. So I'm, like Hillary said, I'm excited to have you here.
Mhm. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Stacy. Solomon's audio is fixed. So Solomon, you're up next.
Oh, can you guys hear me? Just
Yeah.
Can't we see your pretty face though?
let me see if my camera's working. I'm trying not to overload my internet.
All right, if not,
are-
I understand.
We're in LA. So.
Yeah, sometimes that video takes up too much bandwidth for your connection.
Yeah.
I'm in a corner in my bedroom because I'm not allowed to be in the living room while my wife is working, apparently.
Understand.
That's what I want, though. But from the bedroom. So I am I'm the program coordinator. Basically I try to help organize and coordinate some of the different events that we have for the SPJ community, and create a schedule for those, which we've had this year. I'm still learning a lot on my job. I'm a freelance reporter. I just graduated from community college, so I got my AA in journalism and magazine, and then I'm working as a freelancer as best I can, and I'm transferring to Northridge.
Oh, good.
Great.
Oh, wow. That's
Thank
new.
you.
Cool.
Yeah, double majoring in political science and journalism, and I'm working with the California Black Media as a freelance journalist right now.
Awesome.
Photojournalism sounds exciting as a.
Yeah, I competed and I won some stuff too.
I hope you looked at our newsletter because I had 3 different jobs for freelance photographers this week.
Well, I'll be looking at it. I just came back from that funeral. It was very Catholic and very long.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot you were there. Yeah, so I had some, I was thinking of you when I saw those jobs when I listed them on our newsletter this week. So
Good. Visual journalism represented. Okay.
Yes, we appreciate that. Thank you. Ginny is up next, and then it'll be Susan and B.
Hey everybody, I'm Jenny McCabe. I am the secretary of the freelance community and I'm a freelancer. I'm a full-time journalist in Cincinnati.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Susan?
Susan Vallet, freelancer in Los Angeles, splitting my time between radio, podcasting, and adjunct teaching.
Excellent. And do you want to say what you do for the freelance community?
I'm the at-large board member, or an at-large board member, so I help with the Twitter and Facebook feeds.
And Susan also is sort of our point person for issues of advocacy related to, and advocacy on behalf of freelancers related to sort of a current move in state and federal legislation that is restrictive to, how do I say, employment definitions and sort of employment structures that are restrictive to freelancers. And so Susan is a really invaluable asset and resource on those issues. So thank you, Susan. And B, you are up next.
Hello, everyone. I do a lot of different things. And I'm sorry, I just got the link a little while ago. But I just hate to miss these because they're really helpful for me.
Awesome.
But anyway, so I am a journalist. Right now I'm freelance. I was doing daily reports up until a few months ago when they sort of automated us, our entire department. So there are no local people doing it anymore. It's just this like virtual company that took over. So I went back to school and I'm now working on my master's towards my PhD. I'm trying to combine both and journalism and also film, which they now call creative media at the University of Alabama. And I've done newspaper, radio, podcast, film, and still working on films right now and will always be a filmmaker. But I just don't want to let the journalism go because I feel like I have more to say. And I'm also pissed about what's happening with journalism. So I'm just gonna, try to be myself, but in this profession, with credentials, hopefully, because I'm just sad about what's happening with journalism. And so that's me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a regular attendee and for being so passionate about journalism, B, and for what you contribute to the conversations. And I have to say, just as a quick aside, whenever we do, because like most of the people here are board members and we already know each other.
Yeah.
He has come here a few times, several times, not more than a few. And so we kind of already know each other's stories, but I just want to say quickly that it's still like, it's awesome to me that I still feel like I learned something about everybody when I hear like the next iteration of how we describe ourselves. So maybe some of it is just sort of like being reminded of something I've heard before, or I think that sometimes we include new details and it's really fun. So thanks everybody. Okay, so,
One quick question, please.
yeah.
This kind of meeting is just open to the member of the community, or the
Yeah, so
Yep.
we're a little bit lax with it. Our board meetings are technically open to registered members of the SPJ Freelance Community. And registering as a member of the freelance community, which is a part of SPJ. So like SPJ has all of the chapters, right? The geographically based chapters.
Mhm.
And we also have a few communities. And the communities are more affinity based than geographically based. So there's also an international community, which if you're not familiar with that, I would be happy to give you information about because they're active and awesome. So, okay, so within SPJ, there's the geographically based chapters, and then there's the affinity based communities. Technically, the board meetings of the SPJ Freelance Community are only open to registered members. But to be honest, we're pretty lax with that. This is just a decision that I've made as chair because I want to be more inclusive rather than restrictive. And part of that is that we're still in a building stage. We're, how many years old are we? 7 years? How old is this freelance community? Oh, you're on mute, Hazel.
We were formed in 2014.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so around 8 years old, and it's just been growing organically. So I guess it's partly a strategic decision, and also just sort of a personal preference, and the kind of culture that I'd rather cultivate here is that it tends to be open, because a lot of people don't know. Even SPJ members don't know that there's like an extra box that you have to click in your profile to join the freelance community. And so we try to be inclusive. So technically, just open to freelance community members, essentially open to any SPJ member. And sort of case by case basis, open to potentially open to non-members of SPJ. Hazel, were you about to raise your hand?
Yeah, I'd be happy to just run down some quick numbers for you, membership numbers. I haven't given a full report in a while. But if you'd like me to take, like, honestly, only 60 seconds to do it, I will.
Yeah, I would. Let me just, before you do that though, I'll just say that to sort of answer a question that you didn't ask, the resources and the programming that we coordinate, and this is all, SPJ has paid staff, but as chapter leaders, and as community leaders, we're volunteering. And so a lot of the resources and the programming that we, the freelance community, offer are open to the public. We sort of have like a tiered system. So we try to keep some things that are only open to SPJ members or available to SPJ members, and then a few others that are limited specifically to the registered freelance community members. But generally speaking, we err on the side of being open because we just want to invite more people to the party, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I was asking that because I remember this is my second Zoom that I'm that I'm attending. Sorry, and I remember that time they were saying whoever wanted to register to the freelancer community. So, and I went to the link trying to put my info and everything, but I didn't. I mean, nothing pop up. I didn't. Yeah, why by submitting? I was not able to submit anything. So I don't know really if you received that kind of subscription. And
So was that to join SPJ or was that to register for an event that the freelance community was hosting?
No, I think it was said that to be part of the freelancer community, there's another registration, right? Through
No,
SPG.
you're on our roster. I mean, so,
But actually, this maybe relates to one of the volunteer needs that we have right now, which is membership support.
Huh?
Because, well, for for technical backend reasons, it can be hard, and there's a time lag to get reports from headquarters about when people join.
Mhm.
But then for reasons within the community that I think are mostly just related to, you know, how much time everybody has to work for free. Um, there's definitely a lot of opportunity to grow and improve our membership program. And that includes even just like sending out a welcome to the freelance community letter or email to new members. So I'm really, I super appreciate your perseverance to show up, even though you got
I
sort of,
mean, that's my main concern. I'm not a board member and I'm here. Am I bothering or something like that? So I can just.
no, it's awesome.
delighted.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. And it actually just I think sort of turns up the fire under that burner of like the one of the things that we need to do. So it's really good that you're here. Okay, and so with that, Hazel Becker, I will turn it over to you for a quick membership report.
Okay, we got a roster on September 1st. Irene, you were on it, as were each of us on this call. We have 486 members, which is more than any individual chapter that I know of. We have 459 of those members are in the United States. So Irene, you count in the US because you have a US address. So even though you're international. 11 have addresses in other countries, and the only outlier there is Canada has 4. Most of the other countries have 1 or 2. There are 16 that we have no address information for. There were 25 people on the August roster who did not appear on the September roster, but sometimes there's a lag between when they pay their dues and when it shows up in our reports. So that doesn't mean we lost 25 members. As a matter of fact, we have 42 members in September who weren't members in August, but I recognize names of several people who had been on previous rosters. So,
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
yeah. So that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and actually I said at the beginning of the meeting that I was going to open with a few volunteer opportunities. So maybe I'll just circle back to that before we go on to conference discussion and other department updates. So 3 sort of primary volunteer opportunities right now, helping with membership communications. And also this is and I think that our discussion just the last few minutes sort of underscores the importance of that. Also another opportunity that I think is great for, well, this would just for anybody. So in our weekly newsletter, we include sort of a wrap up or highlights from the Facebook group discussions and from our Twitter feed. And Susan, you can maybe speak to this a little bit more, but we're looking for somebody to take over that Facebook and Twitter wrap up and those highlights. And I think that's a cool and exciting opportunity because it's just sort of like a built-in way to sort of hold yourself, or like what's the word I'm looking for, just like sort of make sure that your engagement with the group is catalyzed, and so you get to like you get to see and give yourself an opportunity to see the full range of discussions and opportunities that come up in those feeds. Susan, do you want to say a little bit more about what that entails and anything else?
It's pretty much if you go to the profile page on Twitter, you get to see everything that we've put out, and then you just pick anywhere from 2 to 5 things and you put them in an email with links and to them, and then on Facebook, same thing, and you're just looking back in the past week, so it's not you're not crawling through months of stuff. I mean, I would say it takes 20 to 30 minutes. It's just 20 to 30 minutes that I currently don't have. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's great. Thank you. So that's the Twitter wrap up. And have you also been doing the Facebook wrap up?
Yeah, they're both they're both together.
Okay. Okay, cool. So that's one volunteer, a second volunteer opportunity that we have a special need for right now. And then this next one is more of a project. So like the membership correspondence is more like one-off thing to help with. The Facebook and Twitter wrap up for the newsletter is an ongoing thing that's like a light touch, but on a more regular basis. And then another opportunity is more of a project that a volunteer could sign up for, either the whole thing or just some segment of it. But we have a really amazing guide called On Your Own. And maybe while I'm talking, somebody like Hazel might be able to go grab the link to On Your Own and pop it into the chat. So we have a great guide called On Your Own, which is a pretty comprehensive sort of guide to freelance journalism. And we are working on transferring that to a new platform that's going to be easier to update. So the easier to update is the allure of all of the work that's going to be required to transfer it to the new platform. It's being edited right now by Ruth Toller-Carter, who is our resources coordinator, who couldn't be here on the call today. So it's not about content development or even about content editing. It's really more a matter of, and not so much transcribing, but just transferring the content to the new platform. And I'm guessing that there will be some editing involved with that. We're working out the details of getting that new account set up to access the platform. But so those are 3 volunteer opportunities that we've got right now. Let's see. And that's basically also sort of the update from the resources department. So then we can go on to talk about programming, and Hazel has her hand up. Something before programming?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, you're fine.
I believe I have been pronouncing your name wrong. Is it Irene? Okay.
Oh, I have too. I apologize.
I wanted to make sure that we say it the right way.
It's a different name, yeah, it's a French name.
Yes, yes, that's what I was surmising. So,
Thank you.
good. Okay.
That's why I kept my mic quiet. I just kept my mic on.
Even Irene, I'm good. I don't mind. I know. There's no come on.
Okay, well, thank you for correcting, Hazel. Thank you for your graciousness, Irene. And Solomon, stop keeping quiet. Let's see. So on that note, actually, Solomon is program coordinator. We're going to talk about some programming stuff.
Yeah, so we don't have much time.
Maybe first, because I think that, well, anticipate that the conversation about the conference planning will be more wide ranging. So maybe we can quickly knock out first any conversation that needs to happen for our next program, which is just the logistics of setting up the how to make the most of Media Fest program later this month.
Yeah, and then we need to kind of have so what I have is give me 1 second, I'm just going through here. My internet's a little slow because I'm in the corner of the house here.
It's all right.
So just the write-up was the SPJ Freelance. I'll put it in the chat. No one wants to listen to me read. I actually have a copy of the volunteer fair program, and I'll share that with you guys as well, because I'm working on that schedule and using that as a standard. Give me
Okay.
one here. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to put the write-up in there for now before I share that. So that's what I have so far. So we're
I'm
just
not seeing anything I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Sorry. Did you send it to everyone?
Yes. Is it in there?
Does anybody else see it? I'm not seeing anything.
Come on, internet. Let's do it again.
Is it in a Google Doc by any chance?
Yeah, I'll put it on the old one. I was trying to redo the old one and copy it and get rid of some of the stuff. That's why I didn't want to have that behind the scenes mess, but I'll just put it in a new Google Doc and share it with you guys. That's
Okay.
the way to go. So basically, I need, there's 3 things that I need. I need a goal. So I know that we want to introduce what our sessions are going to be. I'm thinking that's what the main goal is going to be here, to stimulate interest in our sessions so that people will know about them, want to come to them, and invite other people. That sounds like one of the goals there that we're trying to do. So my thinking is that this is going to be a brief introduction about the sessions. Does that sound right so far? I'm just going to do an abbreviated introduction of the sessions.
I think my only edit to that is that it's not just about the officially scheduled sessions, but also about our extracurricular activities at the
That would
conference.
be the second half.
Okay.
So I wanted to do the first half. Yes, Hazel?
I just wondered if we don't also want to highlight a couple of sessions that we didn't propose
Yes.
that will be really good for freelancers.
Okay, well, I wrote it broad enough so that our next event will provide a preview of the SPJ Freelance Community sessions, which will cover a wide range of topics.
Yeah.
That address the needs of journalists, of freelance journalists. So I can eliminate our SPJ and just put freelance sessions, and that'll be an easy fix. I can do that.
Yeah.
So the idea is to have the first half very briefly, because I don't really think we want people asking us a bunch of questions about the sessions before. I think, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think we just want to tell people about the sessions and let them know, give them an idea when they are. That was my other question, because we don't really know what our schedule is. I looked it online, and the schedule that they gave does not say what session is where. That was kind of one of the problems. It doesn't give us any time of what day to be ready or.
Yeah. So far, all of the schedules are tentatively scheduled.
Yeah.
What do we want to share though? We know the times and day of the 4 sessions that we're doing, the freelance community is doing. Do you have, let's give Solomon those times. Know that they're tentative, but likely.
Yeah, we can go through what we know so far. So the editor meet and greet is on Saturday, is tentatively scheduled for Saturday at 1:30.
Yep.
These are not in chronological order, sorry, but they will be. They will be in the write-up.
Yeah.
So okay, editor meet and greet Saturday 1:30. Freelancing 101.
Friday at 10.
And moving mediums is Friday at 1:30. And we just need to find out from Ruth when freelancing 102 is scheduled for, tentatively.
201. 201.
Sorry, I keep doing that. Sorry.
So we're doing, it's freelance 201, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to, okay. Freelancing 201, and we don't know when that is because we got to get that from Ruth.
Right.
Okay, because I want to try and get this write-up done in the next day.
That'd be great.
Yeah, because I have most of it down here. While you guys go through some other things, at the end we can swing back to it so you can hack it up, and then we can probably get most of it done because it's very short. I just need to make that new file because I don't want to share the other one with all the mess on there before I get the
Okay,
schedule.
that's fine. That's fine.
So freelancing 101, we need the time from Ruth. Okay, so the idea is that I want to make sure that we want to go through these to build interest so that people want to show up to them, right? So this is our pitch to sell it. And then the second half is where we go over all of the fun activities that we're going to have at the event. And then that way we can open that up for questions and discussion more. So then if people have something that's a good suggestion that we can do, we can always take it under advisement in that second half. That's the general idea here. Does that sound amenable to everyone so far?
I love that format. Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody
And-
else have thoughts or questions about it?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Good. So basically, I'm using the same format that we used for the last volunteer program. I'm just squishing the first half. And then the second half where we had, after we did the presenter volunteers, where we invite questions from prospective volunteers, that's where we'll go over what we're doing for the freelance community. And then we need to go over where that's going to be and that kind of stuff. But that's probably going to be a little bit offline at another time because we did get some information about possible locations and I had some questions about those.
Right, right.
Yeah, so because I want to make sure that they don't put us out in the boonies and we're not running after people and, so that it's at least partially visible.
Okay, cool. This is weird. I just realized Solomon and I talked about this, about like the location of the freelance corner. And then I had a dream that I did something about the conversation. And I thought that I actually did the thing. And I just realized right now, I didn't do the thing yet. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. You
Thanks, Solomon. I'm like, don't we know? Didn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't all get sorted out?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
actually, no, it totally didn't. And I need to follow up with Karen. So apologies for that.
No problem. She sent a map, so look at the map first before you follow up with her. And the map is supposed to give us an idea of where it's at.
Yeah.
So you'll have more information for the next stream. And
That's-
then
I totally
able
thought
to-
I already looked at the map.
yeah, so then you'll be able to look at it. And then the other thing is that we might want to try and elicit volunteers. That's going to be a little bit more difficult because like no one's like committed yet to saying that they want to go.
Okay.
It'll be nice to get 1 or 2 people that can volunteer some time to man booths and things like that. I think.
Okay, well, so here is actually a great segue to discussion about, so wait, does anybody have any questions or thoughts before we go on to talking about the conference in general, about the next event, which will be how to make the most of Media Fest? I mean, I guess my main question is who is going to comb through the schedule to pull out, the sessions that are freelance relevant, but not the four sessions that are.
Is this event, when are we doing this?
We're doing this in 2 weeks.
Okay, what if the schedule is not up yet?
Well, we'll still be able to get enough information.
Okay.
We don't necessarily have to present it as being definitive.
Okay, so we can comb through just what's on the website already.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
It's on the website and we can communicate with Karen,
I can interject. Can I just interject really quick?
Yeah.
So I went through the website. I'm still going through it, and they haven't really posted. They posted the sessions that they kind of want to highlight, and then the
Right.
rest of them are like nameless blanks. So we may not get that information. But what I did do, that's why I wanted to discuss the metric. The metric for us, I think, is just to discuss what is going to be highlighted for freelancers so that we can point that out. So even if we don't have the dates and the times, at least when person walks away from this next session, they'll feel like they're not going to have to comb through the book at the last minute to even figure out what a freelance session is. That's
Right.
the goal. The goal is for them to kind of walk away knowing what they want to put on their schedule, get there that day and just check it off and be able to add us.
Okay,
That's-
so is combing through Solomon, is that something that you would be able to do with Karen? Just to,
Yeah, I can just talk to Karen and see if what the other, at least get a list of what the sessions are. or
yeah,
something.
just get a list, because you don't want to ask her to come up with a list
No.
for you. But if you can just get a comprehensive list,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask her,
And
for a
then-
list of all the stuff and go through it.
yeah, if you can get a comprehensive list of all of the sessions that have been approved, whether or not they've been scheduled.
Yeah.
And if you wouldn't mind running through those, identifying or, flagging which ones are freelance, especially freelance relevant,
And I can send it to
and
you
then
guys.
including them in a list that'll be presented at the event in 2 weeks.
Okay, well, if we do it that way, I'll just make it the second page to the events page. I'll make that the back page. And then
Beautiful.
you guys will have a chance to look at it. And if I miss something or something's not right, you can just let me know in a note on it.
Beautiful. That would be spectacular. Thank
Okay.
you.
The other thing, before we move on from that, the other thing for the list of events and stuff like that is, are we using do you guys want to write a 2-sentence description of your event? So I can put it on something, or do we not need to do all of that? Is that a little much?
Well, that will be in the description of the event should be part, okay. So the list of all of the sessions that you get from Karen should include the session title, the session description, and the session speakers or presenters and their bios, maybe their
Wow.
Twitter profiles and stuff like that. Like that would be, I'm glad you asked that question, because that comprehensive of a list would be awesome to get from Karen. And then, what the sessions are that we, the freelance community, are presenting, which is the editor meet and greet, freelancing 101 and 201, and moving mediums. And
Okay,
so
so I'll-
make sure to highlight those and then go through the others. But then you should have, like, that list from Karen should include all of the information that you need.
Okay, I'll make sure that I ask her for something that's a little bit more comprehensive, because if I ask her for a list, in all likelihood, she would just give me the title.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
And that's why I wanted to know if you guys wanted that, because it'd be nice for us to have too. So, okay, I'll make sure I do that.
Okay. That'd be great. And feel free to CC me on your correspondence with Karen.
I will.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And welcome, Karen. We're discussing, Karen's a guest, and we just FYI, we're just sort of in the middle of discussing conference planning stuff for the conference in DC in late October.
I need to get a better camera angle. I look so chubby.
You look good.
I keep thinking the same thing because I've got this crazy cowlick back here. And I'm regretting that
The
I
camera
didn't.
doesn't know how to cut my hair out, so the camera's just like, let's just cut here. I look like a lunatic.
You do
All right, you guys.
you do not. Keeping it real at the Freelance Community Board meeting. Okay, so that is the programming event coming up in 2 weeks, which will preview and generate great excitement about the conference in late October. And then as far as the actual conference in late October goes, Solomon started to say something about, or bring up a discussion about, like, for example, the freelance corner. So for those who haven't attended one of the SPJ conferences before, the freelance community has a tradition of hosting a freelance corner, which is generally just a collection of tables and chairs somewhere, anywhere, any space that we can get at the conference. And
Potentially cookies.
what's that?
With cookies.
Potentially cookies if I can get them through security.
Which would be awesome. And the freelance corner is generally, you know, it's like we do host other extracurricular events at the Freelance Corner. But also we kind of open up the Freelance Corner at the beginning of the session. Try to keep it just in place at the beginning of the conference, not the session. Sorry, I think I said the wrong word. And then we just try to keep it set up throughout the entirety of the conference. And it's just a gathering place for freelancers. And we'll talk in a minute about a few extracurricular activities that we host there. But really, it's also just like a place where you can go and be relatively assured that you're going to be able to have a conversation with another freelancer if you see anybody else there. It's also kind of nice place for people to just, for freelancers to just go and like charge up their phone and get a little work done, send some emails, whatever they have to do, and know that when they're doing it from the Freelance Corner, the people they're going to be around and that they might spark up conversations with are most likely going to be fellow freelancers. I feel like that's that's a big value of the Freelance Corner. So
Okay.
Solomon asked about whether it's going to be staffed. My recollection from years past is that in some years we have sort of strived for a specific and rigorous staffing schedule to make sure that like we know that there's going to be some representative from the freelance community who's going to be there at all times or during the main times. I also think that in some years we've just sort of left it to chance. And I am open to thoughts, observations, recollections, suggestions.
I like, if I can just chime in, I like the idea of having somebody there. I know it's hard to say, hey, you've got to be here at this time from here to here. If we could just maybe volunteer ourselves, if we want to be there, if we know we want to be there at a certain time. When I went to San Antonio, I did not go to one session, so I paid to volunteer my time to help other people. I did not go to a session, so I don't think we should like tie each other down to that.
Yeah.
I also do not think that we should be manning the Freelance Corner at all during our sessions. We should all be in those sessions helping, and we don't want to be tying people up. If they come there, we should actually put a little card that says, go to this session right now, it's happening right now in room whatever.
Yeah.
Put it on our table, the Freelance Corner table, so that people, hey, why isn't anybody here? Well, you're missing a freelance session right now. Get your butt over there. We don't want to invite people there when we have our main 4 or 5 sessions. 4 sessions?
4.
But I do love it when it's manned. That's how I met Hillary and Hazel, was just walking over there, and there they were. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And that was in LA, actually. I had just moved back from Abu Dhabi. I had only been back for a couple of months when I met them. So anyway, I think it's super helpful to have people there. But again, don't miss a session that you really want to go to. That's a regret that I have. That was a mistake I made in San Antonio. I was like, oh, I'll do this one more thing. And I missed every single thing I wanted to go to. So
Yeah, I've done that too.
also get we've volunteered a lot of time and we put a lot of work into this. Make sure you're getting something out of it too. If you have a session you want to go to that has nothing to do with freelance, don't feel like you have to be at the Freelance Corner.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to be clear on that. I figured that there aren't enough, there's too many variables for us to be able to man it that well anyway.
Yeah.
So I figured that we can try and, have it. My thinking was that we were going to just view it as a pop-up. That's something that's available, that's got signage that reports where we're at and what we're doing on time, like you were talking about, Stacy. And then you just run it like a pop-up restaurant,
Yeah, and I think if we have information that's there, not that someone can pick up and walk away with, but if we have it taped to the table or taped to the wall or something very visible that says maybe that gives our names, look for us, we're here, and says who's at the conference from the freelance community, I'll give my cell phone number, text me if you want to meet. Maybe giving our contact information there, and also here's how to join the freelance community. It's free. And
Well,
give people direction on that and have that there. So if someone walks by at 8 in the morning and nobody's there, they at least have got some takeaway information. They can just snap a picture of it and they've got it.
Well, what I had done, I did something similar to this for the Chinese Martial Arts Federation or Association. And because most of them were performing during the times at the table, what they would do is they would put, just like you were saying, the times of the performances on the table, and then they put, the list of contact information if anyone had questions or something like that. And then the other thing that we had was the open charging station, which was something that Hazel mentioned, because, it's just an outlet for you to plug things in, but it's on the table, it's there. And then the other thing was a sign up sheet for people that maybe don't have a contact for you digitally. So you can get somebody, because people do like to write their name on things when you give them a chance. You give them a chance. You go to people and you ask them for their email address, they won't give it to you, but you give them a piece of paper and they're more likely to write it. So, we can have something like that at the table that's always there. And one of the tricks is to always make sure that there's something written on it, even if it's, the same.
Speaking of writing, are we at this freelance corner? Are we also going to have the Why I Freelance?
That's one of my questions too. So we'll definitely have some brochures there. And I just these are all such awesome suggestions. I want to give like a special shout out to Stacy for sort of articulating like the healthy balance between staffing and not overcommitting to staff, between staffing and not staffing. I just really appreciate your thinking on that. And this is a helpful conversation about the specifics of what the freelance corner is going to look like. I want to also remind people that I guess San Antonio, holy cow, was San Antonio the last in-person conference we had?
Yeah, 2019.
2019, which PS feels like a decade ago.
Mhm.
But okay, so I do recall at San Antonio, as much as there were complications with the freelance corner, it was also wildly successful in my memory. And two things that made it so are that I found that a lot of editors and sort of like grants and fellowships administrators and stuff were coming by and leaving their brochures. So we definitely want to have like an SPJ Freelance Community brochure. But also I think we want to set aside room and anticipate and encourage this practice for those flyers, brochures or flyers or whatever to be set out. And yeah, the Why I Freelance board. So that actually was a spontaneous development in San Antonio because we had been given really shitty, nebulous, amorphous, totally undefined space.
We had to keep moving.
What's that?
And we had to actually physically pick up and move.
Well, that's another story. But in an effort to sort of like create the sense of defined space, I went out and bought oversized, brightly colored sticky notes and Sharpies and created those Why I Freelance boards. Those were actually, it was like sort of this oversized pillar that was next to one of our tables. And I just wanted to claim the space. And that's what I came up with for how to claim the space, and made like a Why I Freelance sort of banner that I taped to the pillar and hope nobody would tear down. And then I think that I probably got started the same way you like put $1 in your own tip jar kind of thing. Like I think that I probably got started with writing something on one of the sticky notes about Why I Freelance, and it really took off. So I say all of this because I would love for that to be a tradition. It seemed like there was a lot of energy that it captured. And it's also one of the things that people seem to remember about the freelance corner. So it was memorable. And so I like that. That said, that was like a last minute, totally spontaneous, like how to respond to this really specific urgent need idea. And that doesn't mean that that is the best way for that idea to look. So maybe we could just brainstorm, like what should that why I freelance board, what should that look like in 2022 when we actually have a little bit of time to think about it? I mean, look, like at the very least, we could just do the same thing. Like we don't have to overthink it. But I just want to say, like, is there anything else we should do with that?
Well, when I went to, I wish I had the photo I could show you, but I don't have it handy. So when I went to the second Women's March, they did the same thing outside. They had problems with the Post-it notes because they fall off when they get warm, stuff like that. So they provided push pins, which I put on the list for it. And basically they had a whiteboard with a clip on top to keep it to this 3-legged stand. And then you can write what you have on your, on the card, over the oversized card with the markers, and then you pin it or stick it to the whiteboard that's next to the table. I think that's something that's easy. And then if we have to move, it's not in a place. We can move it with the table, or if it's, you know what I mean? Like it's small enough for us to be able to maneuver it and control it. And then it looks cooler when it gets covered, because you can cover things as you go through and it creates interaction. So that's something I think that would work.
I kind of like that, keeping it to a smaller space and then people have to go up and like lift and read. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, yeah, I kind of like that. It makes people, oh, what is this? Let me check this out, rather than spread out all across the wall. And I also think that I do agree with that. I do remember some of those Post-it notes falling, and you would think, as successful as the Post-it company is, that they would be sticking, right?
Yeah.
It's a big complaint I have of those. And the teachers always ask for them. I'm like, why? What is this? Just ask for regular index cards and tape. You don't need, the Post-its aren't going to stick. So that could be an issue of getting them to stick. It's a technical issue. We could have tape there. But we could just try it and see, maybe just bring a couple rolls of tape in case some of them do start to fall.
Well, on my list here for that, I have colorful extra large stickies, colorful markers. You know, you want to get some markers in different colors. Whiteboard to stick them to, so we can get a large sheet, because I'm trying to do cheap too.
Well, let's ask Karen. Can we ask Karen if they've got, will they have a board or no? At the conference center?
I don't know about, yeah, I don't know about that. We can ask.
I'm planning on asking for the moon and scheduling that I won't be able to get it.
Okay.
So, you know, so
well,
I'm gonna
Hazel, do you have a, you know, we're talking about like one of those, like a tripod board, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Three-legged stand.
Three-legged stand.
I don't, but
And
as I said in the chat, I will go shopping. I will borrow from people. I will drive downtown the first day and bring stuff.
So,
Okay.
okay, so the
But
list
you have to
is
give me
not
a shopping list.
so the list isn't a whiteboard, but it's an easel with easel paper.
Yes, an easel.
Yeah.
And I think we need to make sure, if we borrow that, we need to have a piece of white paper behind that, because if people are with their Sharpies and they stick their note and then write it, we don't want them writing on the person's whiteboard in a Sharpie.
Right.
Just, you got to think that extra, you know, if we're borrowing it from, if Hazel has someone we can borrow it from.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there are also, they make like the easels that are specifically developed, that are specifically designed for putting the easel paper on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily have to involve a whiteboard. Okay, that's great. And I love the idea of it being mobile. That's
Well, what we used
awesome.
was a foam board, because you can just clip the foam board to any easel.
Yeah, I
And
like
that's what I was gonna do. And plus I use those for reflectors for light when I do photography, and they're like cheap. So you can get a large foam board from any art store. It's like, you know, they're like under $2. And then you can pin things to them and they stay. And if you stick it and it doesn't stick, you can also stick to it, you know, so those are, and they come in different colors. So
I just had another idea. What if it is an easel, which are super light, if we take those and put those at the entrance of all of our sessions, we just carry it to whatever session is being presented, right? And we just stick it outside
on
the
the
door.
layout though. We don't
It's
know
what?
where we'll be.
Well, yeah, but if we'll know eventually where we're gonna be. If it's close enough, it might just be a fun thing to get more people to do.
Here's a thought. So, but if we do that, then it wouldn't be at the freelance corner, right? During our
We
session.
do not want people at the
But
freelance.
I know, but that doesn't mean that they're not gonna still, like, we still want
Right.
it to look. So here's a thought. What if we were to not necessarily move the mobile YI freelance board to each session? Also, hi Ruth, welcome. So what if we were to not necessarily move the mobile YI freelance board to the entrance to each session, but what if we were to have a collection of stickies and
Love it.
markers
Love it.
and just encourage people to write it there, and then after the session we could take those and add them to the board at the freelance corner.
Yeah, love it. We can just tell them like, leave it right, stick it right on the table where you are. We'll pick them up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We could do that. Like, here's stickies. We're going to pass it down. Right. Stick it on the table, right? While you freelance. And then we've got all these that we just quickly collect at the end and go stick on the board.
So what we did with the.
Right, I'm sharing my screen so you can see what we had last night.
Fun.
Yeah, and I might suggest, especially if you're going to do that, because you're going to have a lot of the same people at those sessions, right? You might consider doing like 2 questions, like my favorite freelance hack or something like that.
Oh,
And kind of change it up. I would too. I forget. I think it was Third Coast, which is a audio conference in Chicago, and they had like I forget, it wasn't necessarily a hack, but your favorite tip to other people in the industry or something like that. I think it was like a teaching session, and it was really valuable. So you could come up to the board and read, and
I really like that, Susan.
I do too.
And that's
especially if you're taking it from session to session, you don't want to be asked, we might consider, one question a day or something like that.
And it's also a cool thing to add to our resources, like a current relevant, hey, we've got from 2022, here's what freelancers had to say. Here are 25 hacks, favorite hacks from freelancers who attend. You know what I mean? Like, you could put it up online. We can use it.
Yep.
Right.
I love that. And harvest, I'm taking notes. Yeah, and harvest for resources. Okay. This is awesome. This is a great conversation.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, never mind.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so that is on a list I have here. So
So you guys are going to send me a shopping list, right?
Thank you, Hazel.
Thank you. And then,
Wait, somebody gets to go shopping? I want to go shopping.
with
I
their
live to
own
shop.
money,
But you don't want to carry the extra luggage on your flight to DC. So
Well, there is that.
That's why I'm the one who gets to do the shopping.
thank you.
I'm just guessing that maybe Aaron A is not a shopping guy.
Never know.
You never know. That's right. Solomon might want to go shopping with me though.
I'm not a shopping guy.
I thought that was true.
I typically only like to go shopping for camera equipment. I like to go shopping for things I can't afford.
Well, who likes to go to happy hour? Because that is one of the other things so the other extracurriculars we've got, the main extracurriculars, there's 4 of them, right? There's correct me if I'm missing anything though. So there's the freelance corner. There is the Thursday, I think I scheduled it for Thursday, brown bag lunch. Friday, so Thursday midday brown bag lunch, Friday evening happy hour offsite, or what, we don't necessarily know where right now. And then Saturday morning coffee, which the brown bag lunch and the coffee will happen at the Freelance Corner. Happy hour elsewhere TBD.
Oh, so we have happy hour on Friday evening then.
So happy hour Friday evening, yeah. And Stacy is working on that. The brown bag lunch we've done in the past, just, well, come to think of it, I mean, was San Antonio the only time that we've done it?
I don't remember it otherwise. I do remember it there. And that, do you remember that event? I mean, that was just,
I feel like we. may
I
have
think
done
that
it
was the
in
first
Baltimore.
time.
that
feel
was a ton of people there for that.
We may
I
have
think
done
that
it
was
in
also our,
Baltimore.
well, our first or second happy hour. Like we had a lot of firsts at that event.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Okay. Well, so anyway, Stacy, is there anything that you need from us, sounding board or anything?
I am so I'm thinking the same thing. If for those of you in San Antonio, I think it was a great event. I loved it. We did have two, because we have one in Baltimore. We're forgetting Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore happened. We had one in Baltimore. Remember, we had that room upstairs, whoever went to that. And we had a separate room, and it just sort of happened that way. And then in San Antonio, we also had a separate room and a big long table. We did not have any, I didn't have to pay for any of that. They just put us in our own room. I don't love that really big long table idea, because it keeps you talking to 2 or 3 people. And that was what happened both times. It is happy hour time and people get hungry, but I feel like I really want to avoid sitting. I'd like to keep it standing at high tops and that sort of thing. That's my only, I guess, request. If Hazel, if you know, or Ruth knows that area, I do not want it to be, people are not, if they have to walk 3 blocks, they're not going. They might, more people will go if they have to walk 1 block to this, right? They don't want to walk a long ways to this. We want people to be able to leave the conference and be there in a minute and a half by walking and not having to take an Uber. That's really the only requirement. I can easily see places to go on Google Map, I can just easily find that. But if you know a particular place that has a big enough space and where we can stand, but not in a loud, noisy sports bar stand type of thing. I'm actually quite demanding. It's actually quite specific what I want.
Yeah,
Yes, you are.
And it's also like 1 week before the midterms.
Those are very reasonable.
A
I mean,
block from
we
the White House.
understand that
Huh.
we all feel this way. And I also can't walk more than about 3 blocks. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't, and people don't, I can, and I don't want to, right? Like when you're at the conference, the energies around the conference, you don't want to, I don't know if it was Baltimore or San Antonio where we had to take that bus ride to go, I don't know, somewhere to the event. Maybe it was one of the, I was like, what are we even doing out here? We couldn't get in. It was at the stadium. We had to like walk around it. I'm like, what am I doing here? I just want to go back to the hotel. So
I
do
must have
wanna keep
missed
it as
that.
close as possible.
Also, to keep in mind that there are people who have disabilities that make it so that they can't walk that far. So to keep it to keep it inclusive of everybody.
If all else fails, we can probably do something in the conference hotel. I mean,
Yeah.
not
Oh,
as much fun as-
Hazel can go shopping for
Yes.
bottles of liquor.
I think the conference hotel is going to be my first choice. We did that. That's where I tried to do it when we got to the hotel in Baltimore. That's when I changed locations, because we got there and it had like the atmosphere of the moon. And I'm like, we're not doing it here. So then I just walked around and talked to people and figured out somewhere else to go in Baltimore. So that's the only thing. You can only tell so much by the pictures online. That looked fine in Baltimore, and it was awful. So
Online can be very deceptive.
it sure can.
Okay. Okay, so
I want you guys to know I got wiped out in Scrabble last night.
Oh,
It
your
was
brothers must-
embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
I am shocked.
I was
Nobody
too.
can beat you in punctuation, Ruth. Nobody.
Well, but Scrabble doesn't do punctuation.
I know, I
And there are
know.
all these new words that I've never heard of that my brothers know because they beat each other's brains out daily.
So
Um,
this is good bragging rights for them, though.
yeah,
like,
Hillary
yeah.
has a hard stop. Hillary has a hard stop in 10 minutes.
I do.
Oh, sorry.
And
Sorry.
I just got a quick email back from Karen Sneath, and she said that the Freelancing 201 is scheduled for Thursday at 3:30. That she is hoping that the schedule will be up by Friday. So,
Awesome.
Okay,
Thank you for
cool.
that.
And then I
Oh,
want to bring up one
excellent.
more time sensitive thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Do we know how many people have applied for the fellowship?
Oh,
one-
That was another question I was gonna go, because I saw that you guys put in the email that we in the board should not use it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I really don't think and I'm sorry too, Solomon, but I really don't, I think if it went to a board member, there would be a lot of raised eyebrows. It's just not.
That's why I haven't
appropriate.
applied. I agree.
Yeah.
I think that we should not do that.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, the board is the one starting the fellowship, and then no one's applying, and we could end up with just board members getting it. That's not
yeah.
a good.
I really think we need to
Okay.
do more to promote that.
Should I
Um,
promote it on Twitter, which will promote it to everybody and not, this is only open to members, correct?
We have to
You
make
can-
that clear.
You can say that in the Twitter post, that it is only for SPJ members.
Right.
And I think that's a good
So-
idea. I will promote it to the St. Louis Pro Chapter and the St. Louis freelance people. But
How do you feel about, since I have an email collection somewhere of chapter leaders? How do you, well, number one, how do you feel about sending an email to the chapter leaders saying, hey, can you let your constituency know about this?
Right.
yeah, I think it's a
Um,
great idea.
I
Yeah,
think
great
it's a
about
good
that.
idea too.
Yeah, why not?
That's
Because
fine.
not
Again,
everybody reads the
as
main
long as we
newsletter.
make sure that they understand that people have to be members. And if it's going to the chapter leaders, then that shouldn't be an issue.
Right.
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 It just has to be clear that they have to identify in some way as a freelance journalist.
Right.
Well, and
Of
that's
some
all in
kind.
the description, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So you could link the first half of the description. You could just cut the description down and then put that in the Twitter, which should tell you all of that anyway, and then you don't have to do so much work and rewrite it and stuff.
That's
Just
a
cut
good.
that, cut the description down and then throw the date on there.
Also, what's the, I
Do we
apologize.
have a deadline for people to apply?
Yeah, I apologize
Yes.
for even having to ask this, but what is the deadline?
25th.
Of October,
September
right?
25th?
Yes, October. No, September 20.
September.
Okay, here's a thought. Our next event, which is how to make the most of Media Fest, is 3 days later on September 28th. So
Right.
what if we were to, and I know we've already extended the deadline once, but what if we were to change it to like October 1st? Because what if how to make the most of Media Fest as a programming event could also be a heads up to people about the opportunity to apply for this fellowship?
Let me suggest that we first wait and see if we have applicants. We have one applicant so far.
Oh,
It's
it's a good
Now,
Right.
hold on. I was just gonna ask about that, Hazel. If you're talking about B, she seems to think that she's already gotten the fellowship.
Yeah, did you see? She said thank you in the text, the
Thank
chat.
you so much for the fellowship.
I think she meant fellowship, like
She meant
Fellowship
fellow-
of the Rings.
Yes, yes.
The friendship, the camaraderie, the
Yes.
collegiality.
Oh, I read it the way you read it, Ruth. I read it the same way. I was like, oh, she got it.
No, she didn't apply.
Okay, then,
I hope she will. I mean,
Changing the deadline for me is problematic because like Stacy, my birthday is in October, except I'm on the other end of October. So I've got my mom bugging me about what to do for my birthday, but I'm also doing a story that weekend, which
What's
is
your
gonna,
birthday?
October 4th.
Happy early birthday.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I think if we've changed it once, we should stick to what it is
Yeah.
now. And that's important because most people are going to need a whole month to make their travel arrangements if they haven't already.
I
Yeah.
think that's true.
I
Okay,
think we
good.
just need to push it. We just need to push it individually and as an org and
Yeah.
just start.
Right.
If we have to
Yeah.
like recruit people individual, like how many slots are there for this?
2, but we can decide the group of, there are 3 of us who are doing the freelance funds, you know, who were
What-
appointed to, it's Susan and Hillary and me. And we can decide to spend more, but the other thing is, if we have applicants from DC, the amount of money we're putting out is different. It won't cost as much.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because there's a travel stipend.
Okay, well, just using the law of like just from sales and trying to get people to recruit for an item or something, you're gonna need like 16 good applicants in order to get 2. You know, so that's not a lot of people. So I think if we just push it and we start really pushing it individually to people we know, like I know
Yeah.
3 people I'm gonna push it to.
Cool.
If we
Great,
get
let's do
16
that.
people to do it, that's 16 pools, 16 applicants in the pool. 8 are gonna be good candidates. 4 will really need it and you'll argue over, and then you'll get the 2 out of the 4. I mean, that's
Okay,
just
cool. So we're gonna push individually. Susan will tweet it,
A lot.
and I can make a Facebook event for the deadline.
Yes, good idea. Great idea.
And do we already have is it already in SPJ lead? It's already in SPJ leads in the newsletter.
It's been in SPJ Leads and the newsletter. Hanan put it in again this week in the newsletter.
You should go in every week until it happens.
I agree.
Until the deadline, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Although-
also think we should promote, we need to make sure that we start now promoting the, whatever we're calling it, the.
The
find out
con-
more
Making
about
the
the
most,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was
Like
going to suggest
today.
that. It's 2
Yeah.
weeks away. And
Yeah.
once again, we have not done enough to promote that function and we got to get the word
That
out.
should, that
Here's
should be
a
in the
question.
newsletter and, you know, every Facebook, all those places.
Yep. Well,
Instead of just listing it in the newsletter, which we can do, can we just write like a little paragraph for the top, you know, almost like, you know, a message from your board member or a message from the president or whatever,
yeah.
highlighting
There.
the
Yeah.
fellowship and the event.
Yeah.
Or the event. Yes, I think that's a good idea. Who
Like to
will
put both
get
of them
that?
so that they're on the top. So
Yeah.
that if somebody is just scanning and they're not
Right.
going all the way through,
Right,
it's not buried in a list. It's sort of brought out as this special.
Yeah, they should be the top items.
right. And Hanan is really good about picking up if we don't send her something for the intro.
I will send her some new language about why go to Media Fest, and then we can tie it into the September 28th program.
Good, excellent, excellent. I'll tell her to expect that. I'm going to be talking with her on Friday.
Okay, I will probably, Hazel, do that on Friday because I don't get home until late tomorrow night. So,
Okay.
and I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
how
fine.
much
I
will get to
I
today.
asked for an extension last week and she was just fine with it. She needs to schedule it on Sundays because she teaches on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, I can definitely do it by Friday, if not before.
Yeah, good, good, excellent. Safe travels
And-
home.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Hillary, do we have a link for the September 28th program yet?
Let me go visit Zoom and see if we have that yet. Stand by, please. My account. Sorry, everybody. I don't think we do. Last I checked.
Well, let's try,
No,
can
we
you
don't
try
have-
and, make one between now and Friday so we can include it in the newsletter?
Yeah, no, we don't need it in order to include it in the newsletter because we always just have people email for the Zoom login.
Right.
Because that way we can verify that they're SPJ members or not trolls or whatever.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so we that's not holding up any promotions. All we need to do for promotions is tell people email SPJ Freelance Community at gmail.com for the login.
Got it.
Right, but we need to get it on the SPJ calendar. You know how to do that, Solomon, right?
No,
Okay, so Solomon, let's you and I connect because we talked earlier about how to do the we kind of have an ongoing conversation about how to do the promotions.
right.
So I can't stay on this call because I'm supposed to be on another call 90 seconds ago. But let's you and I connect. It's only Wednesday. So do you have time between now and Friday?
I do. You let me know when and I'll schedule around it.
Okay. Okay, cool. I can't do tomorrow night, but Friday. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
'cause it's easier for you to tell me because you guys are ahead. So I can plan. It's easier for
Hillary,
me.
if you leave, is this going to shut off?
Yeah, I would just make somebody else a co-host or transfer the meeting to somebody.
Okay, because I just have a quick question about my session that I need to hash out.
Why don't,
Okay.
Hillary, why don't you make Stacy the co-host?
Okay,
Is that okay,
I mean,
Stacy?
I'm okay. It's not a super urgent.
It's a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just started thinking, I was thinking how great that session was yesterday about what we covered and how to run this editor meet and greet. And then I thought, because the last couple have been virtual and the first one was kind of rogue and small, well, smallish compared to what I think is going to come this year. We want to give that contact list to the people who attend, or the Airtable link, right? That's a huge
Right.
thing.
Right,
But we have given the contact information to people who are members. But have we only given them to the freelance? So some of those people in the session are not going to be freelance community members. Do we just give it to anybody who attended?
I think
what
that we
last
did
time.
that. I think we did that last year.
Yeah, I think that's what we did last time is like, if you know, maybe you
And
haven't
if they
checked it.
don't bookmark it and they lose it, then they're out of luck. But if they're freelance community members,
They get
they get it because it's linked from the newsletter, from the weekly newsletter.
Okay.
If you click on the
I don't think I
header,
ever clicked on it from the newsletter. Does the contact information show up in that link?
in the one that's, yes,
In
if
the
you go to the header that says in pitching resources,
Okay.
and you click on that header, I'm pretty sure that takes you to the one that has the contacts.
I did not know that was even clickable. Should we make that more obvious, or do you kind of?
No,
No, okay. You're like, no, when people find it, that's their reward. Get around.
All right, and I have a quick question. What do we call the September 8 program?
How to make the most of Media Fest.
How to make the most of Media Fest. All
Am I
right,
right on that? Does anybody dispute or disagree?
Nope.
Media Fest 2022.
right.
There you go.
Media,
Right.
capital M, capital F. on
got
Media
it.
Fest.
And then
then
remind me again of
23.
the email address that people should use to get the link.
It's SPJ Freelance Community,
Community at Gmail.
gmail.com.
Community at gmail.com, and it is free, correct?
Absolutely.
All right. And it's at
4 p.m. Eastern.
PM Eastern time on the 28th?
Yep,
Okay, got it. Thank you.
all right,
Thank you.
I'm gonna go. Bye.
Wow.
See you later.
And she's gone.
One more question, very quickly. Should we give that? So I've done these editor meet and greets virtually the last couple of years, and those were very organized, but also virtual and pretty easy to share a link. When we're in a session, I think I should share that in the beginning. I've shared it at the end of all the sessions later, but in an in-person session, I feel like we should share the link to the Airtable at the beginning.
That's a great question. And I actually think that this extends beyond the editor meet and greet to all of our programs, to all of our like formal sessions. So should we share basically, because sort of my vision for the sessions is that there is one single central tip sheet for each session. And each tip sheet might have links to different, hopefully will have links to different resources, but one central place. So should those tip sheets be shared at the beginning or at the end?
The end.
Good. I still agree with
end.
the end, because
And I
here's the
do in a
thing.
normal session, I do, but in our editor meet and greet, when we're split up into different tables and people are talking and then the session ends and there's, you know what I mean? I just feel like that is a little bit more, it's not.
No,
so
there's
tight.
still going to be a close. There's still going to be a close to the editor meet and greet.
Okay,
And
okay,
all of the
that's what we'll do with the
hopping
close.
around. There's
Got it.
still going to be a close. Yeah.
Okay,
Do we need to remind people to please not share the information outside of the,
Yes,
Section?
and that'll be handled.
okay.
Yeah. Solomon, did you have a question?
Yeah, so, because I wasn't there, so I might ask a stupid question.
No, you're
Um,
fine.
The idea of sharing this material at the end, because there are going to be people that are not in the SPJ freelance community. So the discussion is, should we share it with everyone? Am I
Right.
correct in that one question?
that is
my
a
first
question, yeah.
Okay, my second thing is, if you are using these things as an incentive to join the freelance community, why would I join the freelance community if I came to the SPJ meeting, to the SPJ thing, got all the information, and then left? I wouldn't join.
Yeah,
So,
except,
But no,
except,
because that's a one-time event. And there will be, if you're part of the freelance community, you're then plugged into the weekly newsletter, which has more job opportunity info, and you're plugged into our meetings and our
Yeah.
sessions and so forth. I think anybody who doesn't realize that,
And I think
no
it is
problem.
incumbent on us at
But-
our sessions to, at the closing, in addition to giving the link to the tip sheet or whatever, and just wrapping up and saying thank you,
Yeah.
is to make the spiel.
yep, that's a good point. So Solomon, when someone, they're paying, especially freelancers probably paying out of their own pocket to come to this. So this is a big reward for them. They're getting
Yeah.
450 contacts. No one's going to walk away saying, haha, I'm not going to join now. I feel like that'll make them join even more. Like, what else can I get? What else? am I
Totally.
Exactly,
Valuable.
exactly.
And I like what Ruth said, because I didn't even put that into my session, like talking about that at the end. We've got a weekly newsletter. Make sure you join the community. It's free. We have a weekly newsletter that we send out every week with pitching resources just like this, and letting them know this is not complete. This gets added to all the time. You've got
This is-
today's Airtable.
It's
Next week,
not finite, it's a one-time only resource for the moment, and there's more that we will provide as we go on.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then if you do that, I think you should definitely have something at the table that helps people enroll into the SPJ freelance community.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then the other thing I think is that if you're doing that and it's a one-time thing, and they don't have to join SPJ Freelance to get access to it, because I want to be clear, the tip sheet that you're talking about is not the same as the list that we have of opportunities for freelancers.
Okay, so there's going to be a different tip sheet for each session. This
Okay,
is the
that's
way
all.
that I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
There's going to be a different tip sheet for each session, and each tip sheet is going to list the resources that were enumerated during that respective session.
Okay, that's to be clear. Okay, so then that's fine, because I think if you go to a session and you don't get the information that comes with the session, you might be upset when you leave. So that makes sense. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that.
I totally agree. And I did put in there, you're gonna walk away with 450 contacts. We do have, oh, there's a big storm. We
too.
do have to include it because we didn't say only if you're a member. So that's actually a good point. We said you're gonna walk away with 450
Okay.
contacts. Hillary, the tip sheet that you're talking about, do you mean a paper tip sheet? Or are we gonna put it up on,
I like to organize those as Google Docs. I mean, that's definitely, of course, what we've done the last couple of years during the virtual conferences.
okay,
But I think that they're preferable to paper docs. I mean, if somebody wants to take
Yeah.
it upon themselves to produce paper tip sheets for their sessions, good on you, go for it. I'm not gonna
yeah, okay.
stand in your way.
But you're saying have the Google Doc on the screen in the session, have it up on the screen.
I think that
I gotta
I
look.
know.
I think that
think the
having the
link-
Google,
the
like
link.
having the Google Doc made, allows the tip sheet to be updated like in real time, even
Yeah,
up to the
okay.
last minute, which is just inevitable in my
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
But also, then I do this with a lot of I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I do this with a lot of our stuff like this, links like this, is that I'll make a bit.ly. So it'll be like, instead of some random URL, it'll be like bit.ly/ whatever, the name of the name of the session or something like that.
And I suggest we not put the full tip sheet on the screen. I suggest that toward the end of each session, we put the link to the tip sheet on the screen. And if it's in bit.ly, it'll be short enough for people to write it down.
Okay.
And Solomon, can I ask you to share with the group what you just DM'd to me?
Okay. So you guys should make those into scannable.
Or can I ask you to change that to we?
Thank you.
We should make stuff happen.
Oh, okay.
Because we
Yeah.
ain't guys, in case nobody knows.
But also like this is
Oh, yeah.
this is programming, you know?
No-
And
no
so
brothers
like
here, so.
and I want you to feel like, I just want you to feel empowered to make things happen.
Okay, so it's not very hard to do. I do these with my business cards and they're free and people really like them and most people use their phone. We should make all of those scannable tags. It takes all of 10 seconds to do it. I can do it for you if you have a link.
Do you
make
mean
a scannable
you mean
tag.
a QR code?
Yep,
Like,
the QR
Yeah.
code. And then
QR
you
code
post
is a
it,
great idea.
I think
then
it's
you don't
a
have to
great
post
idea
any
too.
of the information on the screen and you put the link on the bottom for those who can't figure out a QR code.
I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Okay.
So
Where are we putting the QR code?
Up
If
on the screen.
in your session, when you want to share that information, you just put it up on the screen and people can hold their phone up and scan that QR code from their seat.
and the QR
Okay,
code
so we can
links
have
to
the
the tip
link
sheet.
and the QR code up at the same time, you're saying, not instead of.
Yeah, you can have the link right
Right.
on the bottom, but the QR
Okay,
code-
because some people will want the, okay.
Yeah.
And you can create the QR codes?
Yeah, they're not hard, but you'd have to send them to me and then you guys got to use those QR codes that I give you. You can't change the file.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for that.
Okay. But please send them in one email.
Are we gonna have,
Okay.
so we'll create, I can go in and do it in the Google Docs. Are we gonna have a folder that says SPJ 22 or 2022 tip sheets? Just very easy for us to go in. Those are just the 4 sessions tip sheets. Want to do
Okay.
that? So we
That
separate.
sounds like a
the
good
other
way
stuff?
to do it.
Yes, and then that would be easier because then you don't get your QR codes mixed up. You put your QR code in the proper folder when you do your presentation. You open your folder, it's already in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I like just keeping that rather than digging around and trying to find.
Okay, so currently we have in the freelance folder, in the programming folder, in the Media Fest 2022 folder. Are you saying that you want me to make just one folder inside that says tip sheets?
Yeah, I can do it too. You don't have to do it.
No, I'm doing it right now. I just want to make
Okay,
sure that I'm
I
making
think,
what
I
people
think
want.
so, just because I feel like it's gonna get populated. I'm gonna add my editor's contact lists. I'm gonna add the contacts in there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I just feel like there's gonna be some other stuff we're gonna populate Media Fest 22 with. Is that?
It's
20
done.
Also-
Yeah, no, that's all good. So it's
Awesome.
done. There.
It'll
it's
also
in.
make it easier for you to be able to share those at the end of the session when you have your.
That's a
evening.
great point.
Oh, you know what we could do
If you
is
wanna
That's
share
a
just,
great point.
we could do one QR code for that folder.
That's a really good
And
point.
then they've got all 4. They don't have to know, hey, there's 4. What's this QR code for, right? They've got one QR code for the folder that has the 4 tip sheets from our 4 sessions.
I would stick with the individual because it makes people go to the meeting to collect them.
Yeah,
It makes them go to your class to collect them because I
Well,
might
they
skip
won't
it.
get it unless they go to the class or the
Well,
session.
if it's in a folder and I go to one of the 3 sessions, I would
Oh,
get
I
all of them.
understand. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. I got it.
And then it would be incumbent upon us to be able to share them with people when we meet them at one of our, like the coffee class or the
Yeah.
in the evening. That gives us something to actually physically give them, that connects us to the events that they just went to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I could be convinced that individual tip sheet, that the individual QR codes is better. I could also make an argument that one QR code for all of the tip sheets is better.
That's easier
well,
for us,
do
but I don't
we,
think it would be more inviting for the audience. I think it would be easier for us to do it as one.
I think it's because I'm just gonna play this out, right? Play out the argument. So even if I am a paying registrant at the conference, and even if I do make the time to go to all 4 of the sessions, wouldn't it be easier for me also if there's only one QR code and like one link to keep track of?
It would be easier, but I wouldn't expect that. So like all the virtual ones that I went to, even when they had their sessions and the sessions were like tangentially related, because I went to some other ones from like NABJ and other places, they always make them separate.
I know, but I feel like that's because they don't have it one awesome group of people organizing,
Came up with this idea.
like a handful of the sessions. And if they did, then wouldn't that awesome group of people just be like, you know what? We're so good that not only are we offering you these individual sessions, but boom, here's one QR code that will link you to all of the tip sheets, not from every session you attend, but from all of the sessions that we have produced.
Look what you missed.
I'm just thinking of it as a sales point of view. Like if you're trying to sell Pokemon cards and you give them all access to the same Pokemon.
I am not thinking of it from a sales point of view because I'm
I
not
want
trying to sell
it's a
anything. I'm
networking
assuming
perspective.
that the more
Yeah.
attractive and relevant and useful we
Yeah,
Looking to
and-
interact with us.
community.
And what
more
if somebody
people
only
are-
goes to the editor meet and greet on Saturday and they didn't know necessarily about the other sessions, or they just missed them, or they couldn't get off work? They could only go on a weekend day and they couldn't go Thursday and Friday. And they're walking out of there with the freelance editor meet and greet stuff, as well as the previous 3 sessions that they missed. Or likewise, they can only go Thursday afternoon to Ruth's. And they're like, oh, damn, I really wish I could go to that.
Right.
I think that people are going to show, first of all, the editor meet and greet, people are going to show up to that to meet the editors. That they're not just going to want, oh, here's an Airtable. They do want the Airtable, and I think the other ones, I don't think that anyone, a serious freelancer, is not going to say, oh, I just got this tip sheet, I'm going to miss that one. I'll skip it for half an hour or whatever, or.
And I think having all 4 together is a very good move. But I think what we ought to do perhaps is not make it accessible until after our last freelance presentation.
I think that is a very provocative thought. And with this, I am going to sadly remove myself from the conversation, turn
I
it
have to
over
go
to
too.
Stacy, who I just made co-host. And then I am going to hop on a Zoom and apologize to my sisters for being 20 minutes late.
Aw, love it.
But I will also, this is being recorded, so I will log back in later or whatever to watch the rest of the conversation. I cannot express enough how much I appreciate all of you. This has been a super productive
great
meeting with
I'm
lots of
glad my kids have COVID, so I got to show up.
lots of idea generation and like bouncing ideas off of each other. And it's been super exciting and I appreciate all of you.
Great.
So with that said, I'm going to stop my video, mute myself and figure out how to get out of here without ending the meeting.
Okay. All
Okay.
right, bye, Hillary.
Bye, thank you all.
So Ruth, when you're saying the one, so if we give the one QR code, which again, I think that's a great idea, that we should do, but not.
The reason I think we should not make that code accessible until after our last freelance community session is because we want people to show up to the sessions. So if somebody comes to our first offering and gets all 4 handouts right then and there, they might not bother showing up to the rest of our presentations.
Honestly, I think that's what would happen because
Yeah.
it's a small space of time. People are working more remotely. There are going to be people that are trying to do stuff while they're there and they got to make decisions. Do I go to this meeting if I have the paperwork for it already, or do I go do something that I need to work on? And
Okay,
they're
so
gonna-
we still make it one code, but
Yes.
it's accessible. So we still put it up on screen, but just say this isn't going to work yet. Like, how do the people?
Yeah, we put it up, we
Okay.
put it up on the screen for each of the 4 sessions. And the language under the code will say, or the language under the code and the link, same difference, will say, please note, this material is not available until whatever we want to say, 5 p.m. Saturday, whatever
Yeah,
the
okay.
time frame is. Feel free to use it at that time.
Okay.
How about a happy compromise where you can make one for each so that people walk away with it? Because if they want to look it over right after, they're going to want to look it over that night. And then you make, like Ruth was saying, you make one that when we have our events and stuff, we can share with people. If you show up to our event, you get access to all 4 of them early. If you show up to the coffee class, you go to the table.
No, wait a minute.
Oh, I wouldn't share them at that.
No,
yeah.
I would say we only share the handouts, tip sheets,
At
whatever
the-
you want to call them,
Yeah.
at
At
the actual sessions. They should not be shared at our other, especially our other social events. We want them to
Okay.
be the reward for people who have attended the sessions.
Yeah, we want them in the sessions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I still suggest that we have one for each then if you're going to do that, because people are going to want to see it right after they go. That's my thinking.
That does make sense.
Wait,
Yeah.
yeah, rather than having it accessible, because I'm just thinking like Ruth's is Thursday afternoon. People are going to go to events on Thursday night. They're going to go to several sessions on Wednesday. They're going to go, on Thursday, then Friday. And then it's not available till Saturday afternoon. They're like, oh, where is that queue? Oh, did I take a picture of that? Oh, what's that? I don't know. I just feel like that might be better actually as the individual.
If we do the single, it keeps things simpler for us. We just give them the
Let's
one
do it.
when they get there.
I'm in
connect them in a
favor
folder for us.
of that. It's our first time using a QR code. Let's do that so we can give people immediate access after each session. So the one QR code per tip sheet.
Yeah, and then we just have access to all 4. So if somebody asks you personally, you can always have access to it to give them that.
That's a thought, yeah.
So as long as we have access, so that's a good point to bring up. We should make sure that we have access to all 4 of them, so that we're the people that people go ask questions to. And
Yeah.
it's always an opportunity to upsell. I know I'm using terrible.
Well, the QR codes that you have, if they're individual, they can all work right away, but because
Yeah,
no one's going
they
to
can
see
work
the
right
editor
away.
meet and greet one until Saturday. I mean, I'll have it, but no one else is
Yeah.
going to see it, or we will
Yeah.
have it. But okay.
Yeah, no one would be giving
So
it
they'll
away.
be active as soon as you create them. They're active then, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
they basically will send a
They're
person
active, but nobody can use them until they're
given.
Until
provided.
the end of the session.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
basically,
okay.
the QR code is a code that has information in it. The information we will put in it is going to be a website.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
my
and
website
it's the same as a link. It's just you don't have to write down or remember all of the language
Right.
for the link.
Yeah, most people would prefer a QR code most times.
And
Yeah,
anyone,
and I just want to make sure that they'll be, all I was asking was that they would make sure that each of them are going to be active right when you create them. So that on Thursday, we're not saying, oh, did Solomon make this active yet? Ruth just finished her session. You know what I mean? So
It's a
they're all
website.
active.
no, they're usable as soon as they're created.
Okay.
Yes. As soon as they're created, they're usable, and you'll have access to it before your thing, so you can test it yourself and make sure everything goes where you want it to go and does
Okay.
what it needs to do. And then if it needs to be altered, you just let me know, because they're not hard to make. I can make them on my phone.
And that actually makes the individual process more logical, because it might not be possible to say you can't use this until 6 p.m. Saturday.
Right.
I'm not sure you could even do that.
Yeah, that's actually.
And when you scan a QR
writing my
code
budgets.
with your phone, the little thing pops down and you go directly to the site. If it wasn't available, it wouldn't work right.
Right.
Yeah. You wouldn't get anything. It would just be gibberish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay,
it'll
so
work.
we're going to do individual QR code and link for each session's tip sheet / handout that will be on the screen at the very end of the session.
Yes, and all I would need is for someone to collect them for me on one sheet that has the web address and the name of that session attached to that web address, because I can't check the information, I just make the code. So whatever you provide me, the website you provide me is what it's going to send.
Okay.
I just want one person to make sure.
And I would recommend that we have the link up as well as the QR code.
Yeah, I said that. I
Yeah.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can make I mean, you take the QR code, it's an image. So you can put it in your presentation and write the code, address right on the bottom if you want. You can put, as long as you don't change the QR code by cropping it or cutting it in half, you can put it anywhere you want to put it.
Okay.
So it'll just be a little picture and you can just put it in your presentation in your sessions or your Google
Hey,
Slides or whatever.
Quick question. What time do things start in the morning at the conference? Like, is it 9, 10? Does anybody know?
I think it's 9.
There's a pre-session thing, and that's something I'm probably going to include on the list because it has a lot of tools for reporters. So that's like that Thursday, and I think that's early in the morning as well, like 8 or 9.
I think the other day, Susan, pull it up really quick.
Let's see here.
I think they all start at 9 on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, Wednesday starts at 9, and there's a BOD meeting and lunch. The pre-con starts at 1 on Wednesday, and then the rest of them start on the exhibit hall opens on Thursday at 11. They don't have it in order here.
No.
Of course
So,
they don't.
yeah, so I will have
Okay.
to go.
Folks, I'm going to have to disconnect because we've got a major league storm at the moment and I don't want to be online and fry my computer.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
I-
Okay. Bye, Ruth.
Because I gotta get some photos, do some stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think they're at 9. The times are up, Susan, online, but the sessions are not in there. And that sounds like that will be though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Friday. That's what Karen said. Friday. It'll be up Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
When
just
are
trying
you?
to figure
Are
out
you
if
going to
I'll be
fly
able to take-
Thursday night?
So I leave here at like 11:30 p.m.
Wow.
And then I get in at like 7:30 in the morning to Dulles. So then once I pick up my luggage, I'm guessing it'll be 8. And then it's going to take an hour or so to get in. So that's 9. So I will not have time for a nap. That I was making nap calculations because on overnight flights, if you can sleep even just an hour, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can identify me at the conference by like, look for the person with the puppy red eyes. Like,
Where are you flying out of?
I'm flying out of LAX and then I go into coming back, I'm coming into Long Beach because it's so much easier.
Okay, I haven't even purchased my ticket yet. I'm gonna be doing that this week.
I
Yeah,
haven't either.
because
I also haven't registered for the conference yet.
I haven't registered for the conference yet because I have a class Thursday night from 6 to 10.
Can we stop the recording?
Oh,
We are still
yeah,
recording.
stop the recording.
I don't know how to. Wait, hold on. Let me figure it out.
Should just be on the bottom.
Yeah, I just